Okay, let's talk today about constructing a good thesis. Now, you probably looked at thesis statements in argument essays in a previous English class, but it never hurts to do a little review. Now, a thesis is the argument you're making about your topic. It's the main point or the assertion you set forth in your essay. Now, a thesis is different from an opinion because first, you're offering evidence to support your contention, and second, an interpretation to show why your evidence is relevant. Now, I actually think that coming up with a thesis statement is as much an art as anything else. So I brought some supporting documents to show you how to think about a thesis statement and how to know whether you got one or not. So the first way that I like to think about a thesis is it's like a boat. And here I have an illustration from one of my daughter's children's books to show you how it looks. Here we go. There we go. So you can see our little heroic chipmunk is sailing off toward the moon. And he's on a particular course because his hand is on the rudder. And your thesis statement is actually like the rudder of that boat because it keeps you on track. It gets your argument set forth towards the stars, and you can reach your destination reliably because of it. Okay, that's the first metaphor for a thesis statement. The second one I want to offer you is that a thesis statement is like a contract that you make with your reader. And here we have Ariel in The Little Mermaid about to sign a contract. Okay. Now, your contract you're making with your thesis statement is that you are going to stay on your point. You're going to have something interesting to argue. You're not going to go astray, attempt to BS your reader, and you're going to conclude having persuaded or done your level best to persuade the reader of the validity of your viewpoint. So when the reader sees that thesis statement, he or she is entering into an agreement with you. Okay, finally, the best of them all is the wheel. Here comes the wheel. There it is. Now, a thesis statement is like the hub of your wheel, okay? And around your thesis statement, which is the distillation of your whole argument into one sentence, each of your paragraphs is going to orbit. So if you think of each of the spokes as the point of each of your paragraphs, you can see that they all lead back to the hub, the thesis statement. Your paragraphs have to have a point in order for your essay to have a strong structure. And of course, we know that a wheel has one of the best structures that we can fabricate. So as your wheel rolls along, your essay develops. Now, the central point, though, here is your thesis statement. This is what gives the structural integrity to your argument. This is why it's so important to spend time with the thinking process and the writing and the research process as you go into doing an essay. Because once you've nailed that thesis statement, once you can distill it down to one sentence, everything is going to go easy after that. Probably the hardest part of any work is coming up with a good thesis. It's not to be underrated, but it can be done. And I'd like to share with you that in my last book that I wrote, my thesis was constantly shifting as I wrote. And I only finally nailed it down after about 3 years of work. So there you go. But you're not writing any books in the class, so you're not going to have to worry about that. Okay, that's all for now.